health, menstrual dignity, and gender equality?
Niyamat, I think we lost Roxanne. Can we move to other speakers, and then maybe I'll see if she's back again, and then we can go move with Roxanne later on. Yeah.
Okay. My next question is for Zortura. From a rights-based and legal perspective, how should we understand menstrual discrimination as a form of structural violence and denial of dignity?
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon if you're in Nepal and other places that it's the afternoon. Thank you so much, Niyamat, for that question. So when we speak about menstruation, it's often framed as a private matter, right? A hygiene issue, a cultural topic, sometimes even an inconvenience. But from a rights-based and a legal perspective, menstrual discrimination is not about discomfort. It's about structural failure, yeah? It's systemic failure of the states and its institutions to protect the dignity, the equality, health, and bodily autonomy of menstruators. And once we understand that, the conversation changes. We understand that menstruation is not a woman's issue, it's not women's issue, it's not just a feminine issue, it's a human rights issue. Now, under international law, the experience of menstruation intersects with legally protected rights, the right to dignity, the right to health, the right to education, the right to work, the right to non-discrimination, the right to water and sanitation. And these protections, right, they are not just like ideals, they're not things that we wish could happen. They are enshrined in binding legal frameworks adopted by the international community. For instance, we have the ICE, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. We have CEDAW, we have the ICCPR, we have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. These are all international legally binding documents that recognize these rights. So when a girl misses school because she cannot afford pads, it's not merely poverty. When a workplace has no safe disposal facilities, it doesn't make accommodation for menstrual leave, there's no privacy for health disclosures and the rest. When prisons fail to provide like menstrual supplies, it's not just an inconvenience, it's rights violations. I hope I'm not, are we understanding what I'm saying, or I'm just moving really fast and
yes,
just
we're
talking?
understanding what you're saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now, like, to understand this fully, we have to like talk about structural. So I've spoken about the legal aspect of it. So like structural violence. Now, structural violence refers to harms that is embedded in systems, not through physical force, but through policy design, economic neglect, and institutional silence. Now, I'm in Nigeria. I was born and raised in Nigeria. And unfortunately for me, I went to a public school in Nigeria. And my public school never cleans their toilets. They only clean the toilets maybe once in a month. So now imagine me as a menstruating individual, as a menstruating female, having to go through that every month. And so I was lucky enough in the sense that I didn't get my menstrual cycle. I didn't start to menstruate while I was in that school. So I never really understood. But when I needed to use like the convenience, instead of using the toilet that has been provided, which was very dirty, I'd have to go to the bush, a nearby bush, right? Like, I don't know, I hope you guys know what a bush is. But yeah, I'd have to do that. So when schools are built without safe toilets, when products are taxed as luxury goods and period poverty is normalized, right? These cultural taboos prevent curriculum reforms. Essentially, when having to stay home, is mandatory for your menstrual dignity, that's where we have a problem. So in constitutional democracies, for instance, Nigeria, dignity is not a symbolic language. It protects individuals from degrading treatments. This is enshrined in our constitution. It is also enshrined in the legal documents that I spoke about previously. So when someone uses or has to use unsafe materials during their menstrual cycle, when they have to stay home from school, when they have to hide blood in fear of shame, when they have to hide their products, when they have to choose between food and menstrual products, it is dignitary harm. So I'm going to conclude now because I don't know what the time limit is on for me. So we must also recognize that this burden is not evenly distributed. Like poor and rural girls, girls with disabilities, incarcerated women, internally displaced persons, refugees, homeless women experience menstrual discrimination in compounded ways. Now, this structural violence is layered. It intensifies existing inequalities in gender, class, and disability. Finally, international human rights is clear about state responsibility. State must protect rights by refraining from discriminatory taxation and harmful laws, and also not creating laws that protect menstruating individuals and protect their menstrual dignity. They must protect it by regulating schools, employers, and custodial institutions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. It really adds to the discussion that we're going to continue to have. Um, my next question is for Hairiya. In your community work in northern Ghana, what everyday situation is the best way to show how menstrual silence shapes how girls move through public spaces? And further, what surprised you the most when you started working in menstrual justice? Hairiya, you are muted.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, my cursor was messing up. Do forgive me. I'm here. My sincere apologies. So, for me, I hope I'm audible enough. Okay, all right. One of the things that I encounter in my everyday work that really shows or how menstrual silence shapes girls' movement in northern Ghana is something very simple. Most of the time, it has to do with how they move in schools and also at public places during their menstruation. Through the work I do at Rural Engagement and Empowerment Program, especially under one of our projects, which we call the RIP Ambassadors on the Menstrual Cup project, we engage adolescent girls in rural communities. And what they share is very telling. For instance, on heavy days, heavy flow days, some girls plan their entire day around not being seen. They don't want to be at public places. They prefer to isolate themselves. They choose where to sit in the class, and most of the time they sit at the back of the classroom or near the door so that they can step out quietly in case anything happens. Some avoid answering questions in class because they don't want attention drawn to them. Others also skip school entirely. And for me, this is not just a personal observation. There's data from UNICEF and the Ghana Education Service that shows that menstrual-related absenteeism continues to affect girls' participation in schools, particularly girls in rural communities, where access to menstrual products and proper wash facilities is limited. But what really strikes me most, especially in the project, like I mentioned, in this ramp up engagement, is that even when the wash facilities exist, silence still controls movement. Girls try to use their head wrappers or their pullovers to wrap around their waist when they are menstruating, just to prevent anyone seeing anything that might happen to them. They avoid crowded public places. And sometimes extracurricular activities in their schools and in their communities, they avoid them. They sometimes shrink themselves. And this is one of the things that really affects girls. And when we also look at, looking at it, we see that menstrual silence teaches them not to manage their bodies quietly. Like it teaches them to manage their bodies quietly and silently. They just want to hold it to themselves. What surprised me most is when I first started working on menstrual justice, realizing that the issue was deeper than access to menstrual products. Initially, I thought that if we distributed sanitary products, we will solve a big part of the problem. But even girls who had menstrual products still had to whisper when asking for them from their teachers, from their colleagues, etc. And that's when I understood that menstrual injustice is not just about the products, it's about shame, it's about power, and it's about who controls public space. It's about whether a girl feels entitled to occupy space confidently, even while menstruating. That realization shifted our approach on our project, which is the RAMCAP project. We don't only talk about menstrual products. What we do is that we facilitate community dialogues because most of the gatekeepers are at the community level. We engage non-menstruators. We involve boys and parents and also challenge the silence itself. Because for me, until we dismantle the stigma, girls will continue to regulate their movements around something that is completely natural. And that for me is where menstrual justice truly begins. That's it from me, from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Honestly, your viewpoint is so real, especially in um, global south countries, the whole stigma around menstruation, and even when you're going to a trusted loved one, there's still whispers about it. So thank you so much for sharing that. My next question is for Zortura. How do lived experiences and evidence reveal the ways menstrual discrimination creates conditions that heighten vulnerability to sexual and gender-based violence?
Okay. Hi, Niyamat. Can you hear me? Just
Yes,
confirming you can hear me? Okay.
yes.
Okay. On sexual and gender-based violence, like relating it to menstrual discrimination. I'm from a very poor country, not poor in the sense of national wealth, poor in the sense of there's problems with law enforcement, there's problems with corruption. In fact, there's problems with everything, right? So this means that there's a lot of poverty in Nigeria, and this leads to women, or I think menstruating individuals, let me stay within the guidelines, doing things that they wouldn't have done normally just to be able to afford menstrual care products. For instance, you'd see girls in low income households having to engage in transactional sex, like for money to get pads. And pads are 1,500 on average, and you need about, I think, 2 packs to survive for the month. So you'd have that sex for pads arrangements with older men or their peers, and then this goes beyond like poor choices. Like I said earlier on, it's structural deprivation, and this structural deprivation is creating like coercive circumstances. So the right to your dignity is infringed upon because of this. The right to security of person, freedom from exploitation is infringed upon because of this particular issue. Then you now have the issue of sanitation as well. Like I said previously, girls having to walk long distances, having to walk to unsafe places just to have access to a space where they could use, where they could change their menstrual products, having to use the boys' bathroom because the girls' bathroom is not doesn't have a lock on it or something. And then you now have school absenteeism, people that don't go to school or can't go to school because they're on their period or because they're seeing their periods, and this is and they can't go because they don't have products. Essentially, they don't have products. Now they are through my work, like, so I do outreaches sometimes, like my organization conducts outreaches, and they are privately sponsored. Now what we do is we go and we talk to them about menstrual health, we talk to them about menstrual products other than disposable pads, and you see a lot of, in fact 100% of the time, they don't know about these other products. And when you now tell them about the products, their first concern is, can I use it as a virgin? And it baffles me, like it blows my mind, because I don't come to you to tell you, oh, this product is a sexual product. I come to tell you this product is a menstrual product, and it helps to give you comfort during your cycle. So why is your mind going to like keeping your hymen and all of, so that is also part of like the sexual and gender-based violence that we are talking about, this mind moral conditioning that I don't know how to explain it further, but essentially that's it. Then we have increased risk of early marriage, economic dependency. It's just a whole lot that you have to deal with. Then the shame and silence when you get period care, menstrual care products in my country, you have to put them in black nylon bags because you don't want the next person to know that you're on your menstrual cycle, you're bleeding right now, which is terrible. And you don't speak, people avoid speaking about reproductive issues, internalizing shame, concealing bodily realities. And we have this problem because we're not talking about it enough, in the sense that in schools as well, they're not talking about it. You just go to school and your biology teacher tells you, oh, you have a cervix, you have fallopian tubes. They don't tell you, they don't give you full menstrual care, menstrual health education. They don't tell you about PMS, they don't tell you about PMDD, they don't tell you, it's just there's a man, there's a woman, and using this neutral male term for everybody. For instance, when we talk about laws, they use men, even in the Bible, men, then you now have to include yourself as a woman. So yeah, I hope I made sense, but that's what I have to say on that topic.
Yes, that made complete sense. Firstly, I just want to thank you for the work you are doing. It is so important. There is such a huge gap when it comes to awareness and understanding, whether it's around sexual health, wash facilities, or the efforts that are needed from the government and the civil society. Even something like wrapping of pads in those black nylon bags, or for instance, in India, it is newspaper bags. It shows how persistent the stigma is, and menstrual health education in the curriculum is absolutely crucial. It will help break the stigma, it will help build awareness. Young women will actually understand the facts. They need to know about their bodies and their health. So, the work that you are doing is helping bridge the gap and challenge those deep rooted norms. So, thank you so much, and kudos to the work you are doing.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Niyamat.
My next question is for Hairiya. Hairiya, how does menstrual discrimination affect emotional and psychological well being? And in what ways does it connect to vulnerability and to sexual and gender based violence? And further, how do these intersect with age, geography, disability, or other intersectional factors in your community?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. You know, menstrual discrimination deeply affects girls' emotional and psychological well-being long before it even becomes visible in statistics. because usually we always look at data, statistics, and all that, but it affects girls long before it becomes visible. In the communities where I work, many girls describe their first menstrual experience with one word: fear. Not because of the pain they experience, but because no one really prepared them. From the cultural upbringing, people don't really talk about this, not even parents, especially young girls in rural communities. And for me, menstrual silence means that many girls experience their first menses as a crisis rather than a transition from childhood to puberty. That shock often turns into shame for them because they don't have any information about what they are experiencing. And sometimes they don't even know how to go about it. Psychologically, this shows up as anxiety, and where they have this constant fear of staining their clothes, where they have the fear of smelling or of being mocked. I've had girls tell me that they cannot concentrate in class during their period because their mind is not on learning. It is on what if something happens to them as they are seated, or what if something happens to them when they stand up to leave the class. Over time, this affects their self-esteem. When society treats a natural bodily function as dirty or secret, girls internalize that message about themselves. They think it is about them, right? And this connects directly to vulnerability to sexual and gender-based violence. When menstruation is, I don't know what to say, when it is stigmatized, girls are less likely to seek help if they face harassment in any form. Some girls report being treated by boys, they report being teased by boys when they stain their clothes. That humiliation alone can normalize verbal sexual harassment. In more severe cases, for instance, lack of access to menstrual products pushes girls into transactional relationships in order to be able to afford menstrual products. We cannot ignore that economic vulnerability intersects with menstrual stigma. And a research was conducted by UNICEF and UNFPA, which highlighted how inadequate menstrual health management can increase exposure to exploitation, especially where poverty and gender inequality are already present. And from where I'm coming from, in most of the communities, that is what is already happening. And intersectionality makes these impacts even more complex, right? I hope I'm audible enough.
You are.
Can you all hear me? Okay. Additionally, age matters. Younger adolescents are often the least informed and most afraid about menstruation. Also, rural geography matters. In some remote communities in northern Ghana, watch facilities are inadequate, increasing both stress and risk. Disability compounds exclusion. Girls with physical disabilities may depend on caregivers for menstrual support, reducing privacy and increasing vulnerability. Also, girls with intellectual disabilities are at even higher risk of abuse because menstruation is poorly understood and rarely discussed by them or even their families. So for me, menstrual discrimination is not just about stigma, it is about power, it is about protection and participation. It shapes how girls see themselves, how safe they feel in public spaces, and whether they believe they deserve dignity or not. Then, for me, all these things that I have mentioned, that is why in our work, I mentioned that REAP Ghana, that's Rural Engagement and Empowerment Program, we are implementing a project called the RAMCAP project. I think earlier I already touched a bit. We approach menstrual justice not only as a health issue, but as a gender justice and protection issue. Because when we break menstrual silence, we are also strengthening girls' psychological well-being and reducing their vulnerability to violence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing these insights. The fact that you highlighted that it is the fear that comes from the lack of preparedness of knowledge, of the little awareness spread about what is a period, and the lack of information
Yeah.
is what makes it shameful for them. And psychologically, it shows up as anxiety, constant fear of staining clothes, difficulty focusing in class. I've dealt with all of this myself as well. And this persistent worry that truly, evidently affects self esteem. And especially, I think the worst part is that there is lack of information passed on to the boys as well. So when that teasing persists, it just makes the stigma worsen. And you pointed out that the consequences when the access is limited, it leads to transactional relationships, especially in context of poverty and gender inequality. And that is something that we must talk about more, because I don't feel most people, when we even talk about sexual and reproductive rights, we actually touch upon that. Thank you so much for touching upon that, and also talking about when girls with physical disabilities face additional challenges. Yes, they rely on caregivers, but they lose out on their privacy. And
Privacy, exactly.
thank you so much for that. My
Thank
next
you.
question is for Zortura. Um, what policy or institutional change would most strengthen menstrual dignity as a human right? And what is your view on menstrual leaves?
Hi, Niyamat. So sorry. Okay. Okay, so that question is actually two in one. So I'm going to try to take it one after the other. The first thing you said was policy or institutional change, I believe, that I believe will most strengthen menstrual dignity as a human right. I have thought about this deeply, and this is what I think. I think encoding it, legally mandated, publicly funded menstrual health integration into national like water, sanitation and hygiene, education and workplace standards. What I mean is this is not the outreach that we always do. I'm not talking about the outreach that we always do. I'm not talking about donation drives. I'm not talking about corporate social responsibilities. I'm not talking about NGO-led charity and all of that. I'm talking about a statutory obligation on the government, right? Let it be encoded in legal documents. Let it be in policy documents, in schools, in institutions. Let it be something that is normalized, right? And let there be enforcement. For instance, if this is not followed through, then there are steep fines for it. There are consequences to not going through with the codes. So menstrual discrimination, like we've been saying all along, thrives where systems are designed around like a neutral male body, in quotes, like I said earlier on, everybody is a man, first of all. Now, like the strongest structural correction is to redesign public institutions to assume menstruation as normal and predictable. So that means legislation that is that in schools requires gender segregated toilets, not just toilets, clean toilets with access to water that is lockable, mandation of like free menstrual products. I shouldn't have to buy pads. I shouldn't have to buy menstrual cups. It should be something that is free for everyone, for every student. Integrated menstrual health education into the curriculum, as said previously. I want socials. I learned about menstrual health. I learned about menstruation in social studies, not in biology. Do you understand? So it is so bad, or it was so bad growing up that we weren't talking about it. It was so hush hush. So if it is amplified, menstrual health, menstrual care is amplified, it will do a good it will do good for policy change. Then in workplaces as well, prohibit disciplinary discipline related to menstruation. Now, at my first job after uni, um I used to, it was pre-COVID, so remote work wasn't welcome. So when I used to have really bad menstruation, and really bad in the sense that I used to have very bad cramps. And I would send my supervisor a message asking her to let me work from home because of this. And she would say no. But I noticed that when I send very detailed messages, like detailing everything that is going on with me, telling her about my diarrhea, telling her about my nausea, also tagging her supervisor to it, she allows me to go, like no questions asked, right? And then that happened. Then there was also a colleague of mine in the same organization that used to take menstrual leaves as well, but she was always scolded for it. They'll tell her this month, oh, you took 3 days off this month. It's not supposed to be that way. And when we were leaving, they sat us down, sat her down, and it was a long chiding. And it wasn't something that I think should be normalized, but it is what it is. And then in public institutions, also free menstrual supplies, establish accountability mechanisms, set up committees, councils to make sure that this is executed properly. So the key shift here for me is that menstrual health is treated as a core component of public infrastructure and not a private consumer issue, right? Because when it becomes a infrastructure, then dignity is enforceable. Menstrual dignity is enforceable. Now, regarding the menstrual leave, I actually know about menstrual leave in certain countries like Japan, countries like Indonesia, where paid menstrual leave is enshrined in their laws. For instance, Indonesia allows, like their labor law allows up to 2 days of menstrual leave each month. But like the enforcement and the pay like differs by employer. You have South Korea, where women are entitled to 1 day of menstrual leave. Then you have Zambia, where they offer 1 day of menstrual leave to women without needing doctor's notes. So where we pass legislation that grants paid menstrual, not just menstrual leave, paid menstrual leave that is separate from sick leave, it will be a good step in the right direction towards menstrual dignity for menstruating individuals. Now we now have the problem of okay, so if women if menstruating individuals, I'm sorry, are allowed to stay home for days during this menstrual cycle, then that means that it reinforces the stereotypes that women are unreliable, right? And it kind of increases like hiring discrimination against women of reproductive reproductive age, and shifts attention away from universal workplace reforms. So the question now really is this menstrual leave, is it emancipatory, or does it deepen structural bias? And I'm going to answer this question in one line, right? Like everybody says, consent, the Bible gives us options. Like if you're a Christian, you have options to sin or the option to be a righteous individual. So if you have the option to go home and if you have the option to stay home during your menstrual cycle, I believe that is when it is emancipatory, and when it is paid as well. So the first priority for me, like policy hierarchy approach, like if we rank reforms by structural impact, I feel like the first priority should be like a universal institutional reforms, free products in schools, and also custodial settings, like I said previously, like IDP camps, prisons, and there's a word in my head, but it's escaping my mind. The prisons for underage children. I've forgotten the name, but yeah, that's what's in my mind. Safe sanitation infrastructures, anti-discrimination protections, and then tax removal on menstrual products. In Nigeria currently, they are taxed, you don't pay VAT on menstrual care products, which is actually a welcome development. Then the second priority will be gender neutral health leave. So if you want to stay home, it's allowed by your employer. You don't have to disclose to way too many people and all of that. So yeah, so when workplaces are designed with menstrual realities in mind, and school assumes that menstruation is normal, then there's public budget allocation of funds to these causes, and girls are not pushed into silence or into survival trade-off, then the infrastructure will be transformational. So I hope I made sense once again, Niyamat.
You
And I
make
wasn't just
perfect.
rambling.
No.
Right.
You make perfect sense. You make perfect sense. Again, thank you so much for sharing your real life experiences.
Oh, okay. I remember now. It's juvenile detention centers. That was the word I was trying to remember.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
I also realized that as you were talking about this, your perspective really emphasized why systemic and data driven solutions are necessary, because you highlighted that, menstrual health is not just about doing donation drives or NGOs coming into play, it's also the government's obligation, because women constitute of a large demographic of almost every country. So having publicly funded access to menstrual products, water, hygiene facilities in workplaces, schools, institutions, it should be backed by legal and policy frameworks. And then you further
Yes.
talking about, and this was news to me honestly, that some countries even have paid menstrual leave, and countries like Japan, that have high GDPs, and they still implement this. And there are other countries on the other side of the spectrum talking about the economic impact that a paid menstrual leave would have. But that really tells us why we must look at data more carefully before we start making assumptions or we take something at face value. So thank you so much for sharing that. um, I will be doing a lot more research into that, and thank you so much again.
Thank you, Niyamat.
Thank you. Hairiya, we're moving on to our last question, and my question for you is,
Okay.
from your experience, which community-led strategies have successfully tackled sexual and gender-based violence and everyday challenges faced by women, by youth, and children, while strengthening local capacity and honoring community knowledge?
This is a beautiful question. As someone who is passionate about working in at the grassroots level, I'm happy that you are bringing this question. Actually, for me, the best strategies are the ones that are community-led and not externally imposed. One strategy that has really worked well for us under the project is one, community forums. Instead of approaching sexual and gender-based violence as a training topic, because that's how most people approach community members, we rather create structured but open forums where traditional religious leaders, because these are the gatekeepers of most of the issues in our communities. We tackle the traditional religious leaders. We look at women leaders. We bring the youth and service providers. They sit together to have extensive discussions on issues. Now, when conversations are facilitated respectfully, communities begin to interrogate harmful norms themselves, especially around early marriage, silence around abuse, and menstrual stigma. Because when solutions come from within, they are more sustainable. I think that most initiatives fail because people just sit and design interventions and come to dump it on community members. And this is what community members don't really want. They want to be part of processes. They want to own what they do. And when they take ownership of whatever they are involved in, sustainability is ensured. And for me, if you are talking about dignified menstruation, if we are talking about ending sexual and gender-based violence, we need to ensure that whatever interventions that are sent to communities, they are sustainable. One strategy that has also worked for us is, let me just say that the strategy we use aligns with evidence from UN Women, which shows that community norm change initiatives are more effective when traditional and faith leaders are engaged as allies rather than adversaries. Another strategy is strengthening community watch committees. In most of the communities we work in, we support the formation and reactivation of local child protection committees and women advocacy groups. Usually, these groups are already existing, but they are informal. So sometimes we just go in there to try to formalize it for them because they started at the beginning. We only come to ensure that the structures are put together to really work well. We simply strengthen their capacity through training on referral pathways, confidentiality, and survivor-centered approaches. We also use gender transformative approaches to engage non-menstruators. In many of our sessions, we create safe spaces for young men to question rigid masculinity norms. When non-menstruators understand what consent, dignity, and shared responsibility really means, we see reduction in teasing of menstruators, harassment, and normalization of violence in our communities. What makes these strategies successful is that they do three things. It may not just be the three, but these are the three things that we have noticed. They build the capacity of the local people. They strengthen trust, and they also shift norms generally and not confrontationally. When communities see themselves as owners of the solution and recipients of an intervention, we move from short-term awareness to long-term transformation. And in my experience, that is where real change begins from. So for me, this is what I just have to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that. When I was in a recent discussion with UN Women, um, we talked about we were talking about access to justice, but in particular, we talked about how for the last 30 years, women and girls have had disproportionate progress compared to men. And the point that you brought about how the best strategy is community led always and not imposed is so important, because only as a community will we be able to tackle the traditional and religious stigmas and also involve youth so we can question harmful norms like you mentioned about child marriage, about menstruation. And only when communities will take ownership will our solutions become more sustainable and long term. And equally important is survivor centered justice, like you mentioned, sexual and gender based violence and femicide disproportionately affect young women and girls. So our response always has to be intersectional and inclusive of disability and adolescence and of demographics. So centering survivors will ensure that our intervention is equitable and effective. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for our audience. We are really happy to open the floor for questions now. So please keep your questions brief so we can hear from as many participants as possible.
And then I think you should also involve our online followers. I think you went live, so you should, I'm sure those following the live might also have questions to ask. Whoever is controlling the live stream could take the questions from there for you.
Yep, I will do that. We don't have any question on the live so far. I don't see any question. Unless we have any question on the live so far. Sorry.
There is one point in the comments I can see in the live, in case Zortura wants to answer it. I had asked her about menstrual leave, and we can see one of the comments says that menstrual leave does not dismantle the menstrual discrimination. In many cases, it promotes menstrual discrimination. What is your thought on that, Zortura?
I'm sorry, I have to open. Can I have like 2 minutes? I have to open the question to look at it.
Sure. And do you want me to send it in the chat?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Menstrual leave does not dismantle the menstrual discrimination. In many cases, it promotes menstrual discrimination. Oh, okay. I kind of did consider someone would say that. So, I don't. Okay, so I'm going to come from a personal call, right? A personal point of view. Menstrual leave. Sorry, can you hear me? Am I clear? Menstrual leave is not a tool for discrimination. Misuse of menstrual leave is. Stigma is. Silence is a tool for discrimination. And we need to stop confusing the existence of support with the existence of bias, right? Because menstrual leave at its core is a recognition of biological reality. I'm not the same with a man. Every 28 days, every 24 days, my vagina bleeds and it lasts for 7 days. So some people experience mild discomfort during this some people experience mild discomfort during this time. Others experience debilitating pain. For instance, people that have endometriosis, people that have fibroids, people that have PCOS, people with severe dysmenorrhea. We can't disregard their realities just because we don't want to be discriminatory. I'm hoping I'm making sense, right? So them showing up to work or school in that state is not just inconvenient, it's physically exhausting and sometimes it's medically unsafe. As someone who has had to deal with really heavy flow and really bad menstrual pain due to something personal that I can't mention here, I'm going to say that menstrual leave is not, it doesn't enforce bias against women, or it doesn't enforce bias against menstruating individual. Acknowledging the reality is not discrimination, it is dignity. As much as I understand that fear, right? That it is going to make employers reluctant to hire women and all. But this stereotypes already exist in environments where menstrual leave is not even an option. Because if we are going to say that, then does that mean that women should not get pregnant? Or because it's a biological thing, right? So you don't call sick leave discriminatory because people get sick often, do you? You don't say, oh, because he's sick, then we shouldn't hire, or because somebody from, I don't know, Niyamat, you're from India, right? Let's say people from India get sick often, then that means we shouldn't hire Indians, despite the fact that they are really brilliant people and they bring a lot to the workplace. Do you understand? And they make up for more than half of the population. It doesn't make any sense. We don't call maternity leave discrimination because only some bodies, like some people, can give birth. We recognize these policies as structural support systems. That is what it is. It's a structural support system that allows people to participate more fully in society. So I believe that menstrual leave belongs in that category. And when it is implemented well, gender, does that mean I should stop? And when it is implemented well, right? In gender neutral language, and when it is optional, when it is confidential, like I said earlier on, and when it's like part of a broader wellness framework, menstrual leave actually reduces discrimination. And it also removes the need for women to lie. It removes shame. If I can call my supervisor and say to my supervisor today that, oh, today I'm not going to be able to come to work because I'm on my period, and this happens once every 24 months, it can even help them to even track my cycle to know how to support me better. Do you understand? So yeah, that's what I think. I just feel like treating everyone the same, male and female, that's not equality to me. That's not fairness. It's neglect. So true equity means building systems that account for differences without punishing it. So without punishing it by paying them when they have to be at home for this I won't say ailment, for this cycle. So yes, Niyamat, I hope that speaks on that.
Okay, I hope that has answered the question that was asked in the Facebook Live. Um, Hairiya, I saw that you had raised your hand in case you wanted to add anything to this discussion.
Yes, Niyamat. So I wanted to add something, but my sister just touched on it. I think the person asking the question, the person who asked the question, to some extent might have a point, right? So I'm just saying that we shouldn't debunk what the concerns people have, but try to bring the two sides of the coin. Because, for instance, it is okay, like a woman who goes through menstrual cramps, mood swings, will definitely be unproductive if she finds herself at the workplace. She'll be present in body, but in terms of effectiveness, she's not going to be effective because she wouldn't be working. And in that, it is very okay for her to go on menstrual leave, right? You know, we have women who, for instance, they are menstruating, but there's really nothing. They don't, aside the flow of the blood, they don't experience discomfort, they don't experience mood swings, they don't experience any thing. So I'm thinking that, I'm just thinking for the person, I may be right or wrong. We are saying that when women are when menstruators menstruate, they shouldn't be discriminated, right? They shouldn't be stigmatized, right? Now, sometimes someone having to go on menstrual leave because she's menstruating, it in a way might look like she's trying to avoid stigmatization, she's trying to avoid discrimination. However, we need to be empowered enough to openly speak up for ourselves, to openly talk about menstruation, to openly educate non-menstruators who have issues or who try to harass menstruators. We need to educate them to really understand and accept and recognize that they are serving as allies if we are all trying to ensure dignified menstruation. So for me, it's two sides of the coin. Yes, it is very okay to go on menstrual leave, but also we have to try to think and avoid the situation where people would think that, oh, it is discrimination, like we are trying to discriminate the person and all that. That's all that I just wanted to say.
Thank you. I agree. You're right. There are always two sides to the coin, and it's important that we consider both perspectives to fully understand the issue. Are there any other questions that the audience might have? Oh, yes. There is a question, and I will ask you both these questions, Zortura um, and Ria. What strategies have you found most effective in activating advocacy or allyship amongst men and boys for menstrual justice?
Okay, I'll go first because my answer is very short. I think talking about it, just talking about it every single time, whatever is going on, talk about it on social media, be open about the experience. That helps. So I was talking about like the menstrual outreach that I do, and I talk to. So essentially, what we do is we go to orphanages, like orphanage homes, and we talk about these menstrual health products and like other products other than disposable pads and realities of menstruation. And sometimes we go to some homes and we have about 2 girls, 3 girls. And in December, we went to a home and there were no girls, just boys. And I didn't take the conversation. My friend took the conversation, a volunteer took the conversation. And the topic was the role of men in menstruation, right? So I believe that when we talk about these things and accept that it's not just women experiencing menstruation, men also experience it, not in the sense that they have to bleed. And this is not me trying to exclude intersex people from the conversation, also including them. And this is not in the sense that men bleed. It is in the sense that they have to deal with our anxiety, they have to deal with our cravings, they have to deal with our mood swings. So how best do they manage it for us, right? That's also part of menstrual equity, like helping them understand that this is the reason why I am sad. I'm sad a week before my menstrual cycle. This is the reason why I am extremely happy. I am in this phase of my menstrual cycle. Just talking about it generally, advocating constantly, being okay with it, not being silent about menstruation and menopause and all that it comes with. I think that is one of the most effective strategies that I have found effective in advocating menstrual. Yeah.
Hairiya, what do you think?
Can you hear me? Okay. So one thing is to, and when you get to community, for instance, you need to understand what their, like, how their systems work, how their culture work, how they do things and why they do them. When you understand these things, you'll be able to know how to work effectively. For instance, a gender transformative education is very, very important. It is one of the good strategies that has really worked. Gender transformative education, trying to let them understand that women or menstruators menstruate all right. The issue, because most of the issues women experience during menstruation goes a long way to affect their families, especially the married ones. How they respond to their partners. I'm speaking from the community, like how these our community people look like at the community, how they think, how they relate to their partners or husbands. For instance, a woman experiencing menses has mood swings, and the man wants her attention, not to get intimate, but probably for her to do some chores for him. Now he doesn't understand what she is experiencing. He only knows that she is menstruating, and he sees nothing wrong with it, but maybe he thinks it's a normal thing women already go through. So making the man to understand that for you to be able to get your wife's attention, is for you to understand, to try to talk to her, to understand how she feels when she's menstruating. And at that moment, you will also try to realize that, okay, this is what she's experiencing, and this is how you can also help her. She has mood swings. She might not be able to do one or two things at home. Sometimes men shy away from cooking or from washing in the household because of what the communities think about them. Most of the times at a rural community, if a man is seen doing the dishes or cooking for his wife, it is termed that the man is a weak man, in quotes. That's how some people think. But then he can still do it away from the eyes of community members or people from the home. So a very good gender transformative approach, education works very well. And another thing is understanding why people do what they do, and also trying to explore with them the alternative approaches they could use. That way, like I mentioned earlier, they don't feel that you are coming to impose anything on them. Whatever they say, they feel that, okay, they are making the contribution, they are making the recommendations, then you will now come in to add up your knowledge to kind of bring it up to standard for them to practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will add a little bit to this question myself. You had asked strategies that have worked in activating advocacy amongst men and boys. I've worked with a lot of boys who are anywhere from the age of 10 to 17, and I realized that to firstly draw their attention, I had to make sure that I was doing something that was attention grabbing. So I would play cricket with them. I would have small sessions with them. They wouldn't be too long, enough to hold their attention span. After that, I would play cricket with them. But while we would play cricket, they would be answering questions related to menstrual health and understanding. And also, another approach that really worked with them was linking it to their sisters and their mothers. They felt a sort of social and moral obligation to understand what their own family members were going through. So that was that's another thing that I would love to share. I can see another question in the chat from Martinu. Um, but the first question that they have just responded to, I think effectively answered that as well. But thank you so much for your question. Um, I do see Muhammad Ziauddin's hand up. If you would like to ask a question, please go ahead.
No, this is not. Thank you very much. This is not a question. This is an answer to the previous question flagged in the chat box. So I just want to, what would be the best strategy to like activate the advocacy? We have been working with the boys for like many years and with the adolescent for last almost more than 2 decades. And menstrual hygiene happens to be the one of the like leading component of our SRH program in that we have been implementing across like 20,000 schools in India. And with like for the past 4 years, we have been working with 30,000 boys to basically work on addressing gender equity and like sensitizing on the creating a basic gender equitable community and like normalizing the menstrual hygiene practices and support system for the by engaging boys. So the first and foremost important strategy is what I feel is when we talk about the menstrual health and hygiene like a component, we normally implement programs which are especially designed for the girls, keeping the boys isolated from the boys. So integrated program when we teach about the like, menstruation, the boys and this it need to be in a co-ed setups where the boys also equally understand how and what the menstruation is all about, physiology and biology both. Like similarly when the girls when the we are talking about the ejaculation and all those things, you need to talk in a like a co-ed setups, then only the sensitivity will get developed among both the that will that also the respect will get developed for each in both the gender and opposite sex, I mean like a opposite gender, right? So one thing. Second is engaging because we normally there are two kind of programs we have been doing. Like one is the in school setting and in the community settings. So in school settings, of course, teachers are trained too. But when we train teachers, we prefer that female teacher teach a girls student and the male teacher teach boys student. But if we reverse these things, that will make more sensitive, more like adaptability in that enhances the concept and like this respect aspect of the like a menstrual hygiene. One thing. Third is like when we implement the program in the community, we also need to engage peer educators in a larger way, and we have used in our program two things. One is we have used basically uh, storytelling, one thing. Second is we have modified the whole program, the storytelling in a like a movie set, like a stories like, right? Because there are some popular movies in India which we have like a students and adolescent like. So we have designed those ideas, concept, and like the whole messaging on those storylines, which is very much aligned to the like movies, right? And the one thing, the peer network is very much strong, which is also being supported by the service provider. Because when we normally, as a part of the menstrual hygiene scheme, we normally keep on like working on the one side, that is a demand side, the information and knowledge enhancement side. But simultaneously, we need to ensure that the service provider are equally engaged, supportive in this whole process, and offer the like a service required services and the adolescent needs, particular girls. And because then only the boys will able to support the girls in accessing those services. Third is normalizing this menstrual hygiene by engaging parents and faith leaders. Faith leaders is one of the important aspect by engaging the menstrual hygiene normalization process, and that is where the whole so advocacy is need to be like strategized at the individual level, community level, and the system level, at the three levels. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so informative. We're all taking notes and I'm trying to catch them up now, but thank you so much. If it's possible for you to share these pointers in the chat, that would be wonderful so I could note them for future purposes as well. You are muted. It's okay.
These notes were like already shared in the presentation that I have made during the menstrual hygiene conference held in Kathmandu. So it is, and that has already been shared across the like the group members. Yeah.
Maybe I can find the presentation and maybe share it with you later, Niyamat.
Yeah.
Perfect. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much once again. Um, I think that was it from the audience's side. Thank you so much to our audience for your questions and your answers. I will now be passing the mic to Sharmila to close the session.
Thank you so much, Niyamat, for your thoughtful moderation, and sincere thanks to our speakers and all the participants who made the webinar very rich. We had a very rich discussion indeed. And just to highlight on our discussion, we had a very rich discussion on menstrual leave, and we shared different thoughts, and when we come to the discussion on menstrual leave, it's always you know we always have so many different ideas on it. And us from Global South Coalition, we have been working on developing dignified menstruation indicators, and one of the indicator is specifically on menstrual leave. And we have this indicator, we call it 4D indicator, which stands for, it has four Ds, which stands for define, dismantle, detect, and declare. So based on these three indicators, like first, I'll just go through quickly. And so for the first indicator, which is define, it depends on the awareness of menstruation and menopause among workplace among the employees. And the second D stands for dismantle. If there's no form of discrimination related to menstruation and menopause associated with menstrual leave. And third is detection, identifying health needs. And the fourth indicator is declare. It's an institutional commitment. Like policy, if they have policies in place that does not exploit menstruator. So these are the indicators. I will not go into very deeply into it, but you can definitely check it out in our website. It's available there. I think it will be provide you a clear reasoning on the concept itself. Having said that, I will not take a lot of time because we're almost coming to an end and we don't have much time. So listening to today's conversation, I'll just wrap it up quickly. One message that come through very clearly is through all the speakers and also the participant. Menstruation is not simply about hygiene. It goes beyond that, and it is something that should be that should shouldn't be hidden. That should which is individualized or treated as a charity. So what we have heard today, it reminds us that it is deeply political, social, and fundamentally it should be looked as a human right issue foremost. So through these stories and evidences, we've seen how menstrual discrimination continues to shape unequal power relation, reinforcing patriarchy and creating the condition that expose menstruators to exclusion and to experience forms of violence that exist in the society. So so these are not just isolated experiences, and they are part of broader system that we must collectively challenge. So this is the core reason why Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation, we remain committed to a decolonized life cycle and right-based approach while tackling menstrual discrimination that is based on lived realities. So today's discussion reflects exactly why this approach matters. And thank you so much to everyone. I'll just and just also to mention, we have this webinar series. We have two webinars every month, and one we don't have interpreters such as for today's, and we have another webinar coming on for this month is scheduled on 27th of February, and we have simultaneous interpretations available in Spanish and French. Yep. And I see participants from Spanish, French-speaking countries, and we're so sorry we couldn't provide interpretation for this webinar, but do definitely check out the other webinar that's happening later this month. I hope to see you all there again this month. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the day. And I hope to see you again on our next webinar. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.